good, YouTube? Back here with another video. Before we get to the video, like, comment, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and let's get into it.
Good thing comes together, folks. I had set an intention this morning to record a video on quote unquote acting white, this entire idea, talking white, acting white, etc. And this morning, before I record the video, I go through a few of my comments. Again, I try my best to go through some of them and at least like and things of that nature. There's just a whole lot going on. I spend a lot of time creating content, researching, etc. So if y'all been showing love, I appreciate y'all. But I saw a comment and it caught my attention. I said, this is a perfect example of exactly what I'm about to get into. And this person essentially said, under a video, mind you, where I was speaking on how the welfare system has become a generational curse upon, black folk or quote unquote POCs, marginalized peoples, etc. These different classifications that are oftentimes used to, to label individuals who are lower class. But this guy says, you subscribe to the white man's value system. Now, that's super interesting to me because it ties directly into this entire idea of whiteness and you're acting white. And I'm sure there's a lot of black folk out there who are listening right now who have been told at some point in time that you're talking white or you talk white or you act white.
When I was younger, I got told that I talk like I'm white. Like I got told that a couple times when I was younger. But like that shit, it's like when you understand what that means, you don't really get offended by it because at the end of the day, it's like you just showing your ignorance at the end of the day.
And when I was young, I used to take this as something to take offense to. I used to see it as triggering because that meant that I was an outsider. It meant that I wasn't cool. And so I would look to change my vocabulary. I would literally switch up my vernacular. That's why sometimes I may break into, some ebonics. I know they got a new name for it nowadays, but, I used to break into slang or whatever it was in order to fit in with the status quo because I did want to be pointed as a dude who talks white.
Now that is one thing I will say, like, even if you're a good looking dude, like if you get labeled as like you talk white or you act white, that shit don't fucking matter. They just gonna toss you to the side and ostracize you just because of the fact that you not thugging, you not hood and shit, you not gangster about that shit.
And yet the older I get, the more I realize that, that's a compliment. When somebody is telling you that you quote unquote talk white, what they're actually alluding to is that you are well spoken, which is very unfortunate because it actually shows, like this guy over here, right? It shows that he thinks so little of black people, whoever he is. I don't know what ethnicity he is. I don't know anything about the guy, right? He's one of those kind of hidden profiles. Most people will not put their face who leave those type of comments. But I'm thinking to myself, so you think that to not be on welfare and to not be reliant upon the government, to be self-sufficient, to aspire towards success, to have personal agency is a white value system? That's problematic. And it's not problematic for anybody besides the person who has that belief system, right? And there's a lot of white liberals.
But see, the problem with that is I understand what he's saying. And what he's saying is like 100% true, right? But the problem is the community as a whole thinks like that. So yes, it's problematic to the people that think like that, but that's the majority of the community. That means you can't get nowhere because the majority of the community thinks like that.
Who have this ideology, they think poor black folk, they need to be saved. If it's not for us, if we don't do something, then they're basically cooked because they can't do anything for themselves. That's that's what's known in psychology as infantilization.
That's a white savior mindset.
When you are infantilizing or you are making somebody out to be a child, you're babying this individual. That's what that is. When you coddle grown folk, you are essentially communicating to them that they cannot do for themselves. And there are those rare cases when you will find an adult who genuinely cannot. They're maybe not able-bodied or there's a severe mental illness or whatever it is. But I've even seen people, far on the spectrum or, who got Downs or something like that are working at a grocery store, that are doing different things. My mother does in-home care. She's been doing that for years. And I remember one of her clients or patients, I guess you would say, who was severely mentally ill, yet the girl would go to school. She would go to She would go to her job. She got herself a little job at the grocery store. She was doing different things. She was doing dance classes, etc. And I'm thinking to myself, there are people who are able-bodied, able-minded, who
That
are
don't do
leeching
nothing.
off of systems such as this. And I'm using that word intentionally because it is leeching. You are using up resources that are being collected or garnered from somewhere. Like when the government says that they're paying for programs, such as the welfare programs, it's not the government paying for it. It's us, the taxpayers, who are paying for these programs. So it is leeching. You are literally taking out of your neighbor's pocket when you yourself could actually do more. Now, again, there's going to be times in which people need to rely.
But I think, see, that part in itself to me is like, it's tough because then it's like people, you gotta get those people out. You gotta get those people out the system. You gotta force them to do stuff. You gotta force them to be able to grow. Or you gotta let them just fall. Because at the end of the day, like they just, not only is it affecting the people that are providing for themselves and doing stuff for themselves and making a life for themselves because they're painful ultimately. It also hurts them because then they just become complacent and lazy and don't actually build any skills or don't do anything. So when it's time for them to do something, they don't know what to do because they're just like, well, I haven't had to do nothing in 10 years. So what am I doing here?
On somebody or a system or whatever it is in order to get on their feet. However, it's become generational. And that was my entire point with that video. But back to the point at hand is when you have this belief that that is, it's acting white. It's like, I remember seeing, let's say, suburban activity. So you got mom and dad and, kid in the damn yard and they're playing, or, mom sitting on the lawn chair and pops is running around playing basketball with the kid. And I've literally heard people say like, oh man, that's white people stuff. Like what? Having a mother and a father is white people stuff?
Yes, they want to say that because, like I said in the beginning, they value the worst attributes in the black community. That's what's highlighted. That's what's valued. That's what people like praise. Is that hood struggle shit, that single mother shit, that motherfucking welfare shit. Like they praise that shit. They don't praise people who go out there and make their own living and don't have a victim mindset as far as, oh, the system against me, I can't do this, that, and the fourth, woe is me. Instead of the people that be like, you know what? Even though I'm fighting against odds, I'm gonna go against them. I'm gonna provide, I'm gonna thrive and succeed in this. They don't praise those people because at the end of the day, those people make them feel inferior.
Having a healthy relationship dynamic within your household as white people, that's troubling. That's problematic, folks. Like that's the issue. If that is connotation or connected to whiteness as far as having functional homes, that's problematic. Oh man, you see, oh, he's acting white because he's not a thug, because he's not out here slanging dope, because he's not out here trying to be a menace to his damn society. He is white or acting white. And that's the worst part of it. It's like you're not just white, you're acting white. What is it to act white? Because right now I live in a small town in Cali, and I'm soon to make my way out, right? It is a redder part of the state because this place has completely gone to shite. Governor or not so governor Gavin Newsom he's turned his back on the people. I don't even think he had the people in mind at first. So places turned into a hub for crime and things of that nature, right? Slaps on the wrist, like most blue states, quote unquote sanctuary states. But I digress. So I live in a place where there's maybe 70% white folk out here, like a lot of these small little towns in America. Super dope people. However, these folks right here, these white folks don't act nothing like the ones in the Bay Area where I came from. It's like opposite cultures, the way in which they live their lives, the way in which even, how the families are set up, etc. It is night and day difference. And I've seen differences when I've gone to Europe, etc. So how can I quantify any of that as acting white? You got some folk out here who are straight hillbillies, and then you got others who are, not necessarily that, but they're family oriented, etc. Then you got some just straight crackish type of individual. You got all type. You got a variety. There is no monolith within white folk. Just
To me, that just is like, that's like if white people was like, oh, the poor white people that's doing heroin and crack and all this and sitting there. That's like them telling, oh, you're acting black. Like, you see how fucked up that shit sounds? Like, it sounds fucked up, but like, it's okay for us to say it in a sense, but it's still fucked up, because at the end of the day, there is no such thing as a race being associated with behavior. All it has to do with social economic classes.
like there is no monolith within black folk. And so when we use these statements, or when these statements are targeted towards us, it's really a representation of, unfortunately, the small-mindedness or short-sightedness of individuals who have been programmed to believe that
it's a representation of the culture.
To be ignorant,
it's really just the culture.
To be criminal, to be black is to not articulate yourself well. You know, these things make you black. The more hood, the more gutter, the more street you are, then the more you are connected to quote unquote blackness. Like, do we not know the history of Ebonics itself? That this is redneck language? You know, I make sure y'all pick up a copy of Thomas Sowell's, I think it's called The Black Redneck. This is hillbilly culture that we're talking about here. The language that is, y'all I'm saying, what's up, y'all mean? That right there is derived from Southern dialect, which is hillbilly culture, country white folk culture, if we want to get down to it, right? It was like broken English. It's almost like patois or pidgin English, I guess you would say, you know, from some of our Nigerians out there. So when we start to make these connections of black culture, well, what it is to be black, not even just black culture. What is it to be black? Oh, to be black is these, and to be white is these. And oftentimes it's the negative connotations of what it is to be black. And I fell into this trap for...
It's like the black is negative and the white is positive, but at the same time, they're both representations within the race of both behaviors. You got white people that act like black people. You got black people that is supposedly act like white people. But at the end of the day, white is established with good and black is always established with bad. So it's like, it's not a race thing at the end of the day. It's just, that's what the perception is of everything, really. So, like I said, the good is always going to be highlighted with them.
I spent
there's
a
lot of good
of
black
years
people,
trying to be
same
something
as a lot
I was
of
not,
bad
and I
white
ended
people.
up becoming what I was not. That's why I'm so, I guess, dogmatic about my message, is because I've lost best friends to that lifestyle. They're no longer here. 3 of my best friends, out of 5 of us, there was 5 of us, my road dogs, my day ones. 3 of them passed away before the age of 30. Overdoses.
That's about real.
One of them has been in and out of prison since we're 17, 18 years old. That's the reality of quote unquote being black in the way that it is presented to us. Oh man, see him. You see an artist come out, right? You see a Leon Bridges, you see Anderson .Paak or something like that. I mean, that's not really a black artist. Like, you're black, but it's not really a black artist. So what is it to be a black artist then? What is it? They have to be gutter, they have to be street, they have to be hood. They can't articulate themselves. They can't be eccentric. They can't be free, basically. You know, that's democratic plantation talk right there. They can't be free. And that's the biggest issue that I honestly have about this. And so, again, for me, I actually say it's a compliment now. When I get comments like that, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's acknowledgement. Because what they're saying is, oh, you're teaching success. Oh, you're teaching self-sufficiency.
They see that you're
agency.
good.
You must be white. As soon as they tell you you're acting white, they're telling you you're doing something right. You're eating healthier. Man, this nigga over here acting white. Really? Really?
You should know white people.
Getting in shape. Taking care of your body. Loving your children. Loving your wife. Huh?
Shoot, being honest, shit, them niggas don't even love their wife. A lot of them white motherfuckers don't like their wife either. So it like I said, it's really come down to perception, because just as much as you could say all the negative shit about black people, white people do the exact same thing, if not worse. But they don't get that label because everybody sees white as good, when that's not necessarily the case. Same way everybody sees black as negative, business, but that's not always the case.
That's not a hustle, an actual business. Generational wealth and handing that down. Financial literacy. These are the things that are connotated as whiteness in more cases than not. If you're going to be honest with yourself, it's almost never a positive thing. And it's unfortunate because that's not what blackness is. That's just dysfunction. It's like, I call it criminal culture, right? A lot of those aspects are just criminal culture, dysfunctional or toxic culture, regressive culture. That's what that is. And so when we continue to shame individuals for not being regressive, then we'll continue to get the very same results. We get en masse, even those kids who may have been born in the suburbs, etc. Like,
they be trying.
I had a buddy of mine back in the day. I'm not going to give his name, but his mama owned McDonald's, and you know what I mean? Like, he was very well off, and he was, acting white throughout high school. All of a sudden, after graduation, I run into him. So I was the trenches. I was the problematic kid. I was that dude, got kicked out of high school, got kicked out of my high school, et cetera. Like, I was that guy. And so when I ran into this dude, I had cleaned myself up. I had changed my life a little bit. And I'm talking to him and I'm like, he's, y'all, what's up, man? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you feel me? Yeah. I'm like, you went to college, you're the whole nines, and you came out even more gutted, how does that happen?
Man, you would not believe how many people go to college, sit there and try to act like they from the hood. You would not believe how many niggas do that shit. Bro, it's unbelievable. I can almost guarantee you, if you ever been to college and you notice, you can always tell which niggas is from the hood and which niggas is from the suburbs. You go tell by the way they act. Bro, the niggas that try to act the most hood, the most gangster, the most thugs, them niggas is from the suburbs. And I'm gonna tell you why they from the suburbs. Because no nigga from the hood is trying to act like that. Because the whole purpose of them coming to this bitch is trying to get it out the hood. They're not trying to be in the hood no more. They know that shit is not fun. That shit is glorified it's just a glorified trap. Like, niggas from the hood know exactly what the hood brings. Like, they not trying to do that shit no more. They trying to actually change their life and better themselves. That way they can get out the hood. So when you see niggas that's on their shit, don't really be getting into too much drama, keep their head low, them niggas they be the real ones from the hood. Like, they be the ones that really from the hood and really will turn up on your ass. But they not trying to do all that because they trying to change their life. But when you get the motherfuckers that be sitting there trying to act like they from the hood, act like they told blicks, all types of shit, like selling drugs, all types of shit, bro, they is from the suburbs, bro. They're almost always from the suburbs. And it's like, bro, like, you didn't have to struggle not one bit. Why are you trying to act hard, bro? It's not even cool, bro. Why are you trying to act hard? You don't even understand what really happens in this life. Like, but you think this shit is cool. Like, niggas, I lost mad people in the hood growing up. Like, that shit not cool. None of that shit is cool. But you want to sit here and try make it seem like it's cool, nigga. You from the suburbs, bro. I don't want to hear that shit, bro.
You had a beautiful life. You lived in the suburbs. I'm like, whoa. But then I remembered, because that's the masquerade you feel pressure to put on when you're rejected for simply being sophisticated. And people wonder why. There's been this huge divide within the so-called community because it's not a community anymore. It's now break-off societies, cultures, and tribes of these people who have certain values, certain morals, and those who don't uphold the same morals and values. And maybe that's for the better. That's been my new thing, is like, maybe we need to go back to being a little more tribal and just come together with the tribes who affiliate and associate with us best, as opposed to just going off a race. The race thing don't work. You feel that you are beholden to your race when these may be the very most destructive people. I see comments every single day of folks giving that exact same story of like, bro, like, I feel like I'm not safe even around people who look just like me, but yet I feel beholden to this quasi loyalty. You ain't got to be loyalty to your destruction. Absolutely the hell not.
I will say this. You only got to be loyal to people who are loyal to you and who are on the same path as you. If they're not on the same path as you, if they're not loyal to you, you don't got to be loyal to nobody. I don't care. Skin tone, blood related, family. I don't care. Like if they're not for you and they not sticking with you and agree with you and they don't even necessarily always agree with you. If they're not on the same type of time as you, on the same path as you don't owe them niggas nothing. You don't owe nobody nothing. Like that's the thing that people be trying to attach. Like, oh, cause he black, like I gotta stick with him, or oh, cause that's my fam. I gotta, man, that's a bunch of bullshit.
Separate yourself from that element. If they're not standing on what you stand on, if they don't have the same value system, God, family, being an honest and integrity filled individual, if they don't have those elements, then they might not be your people. Because these are things I stand on. So if you don't have that as your priorities, what business do we have? We don't have to kick it. You ain't got to lie to kick it. We don't have to kick it. We don't have to pretend. Skin folk don't mean kinfolk. We don't have to pretend. I know that's oftentimes used on the other side, when they try to do the whole, I'm black, y'all, and I'm black, y'all, and I'm blackity black because I'm black, y'all, right? Skin folk ain't kinfolk. Y'all don't see me as kinfolk. The ones who call me a sellout and all types of stuff, the ones who leave messages like that, y'all don't see me as kinfolk, and you shouldn't, because I don't subscribe to a mentality of degeneracy. I don't subscribe to a mentality of tomfoolery. I don't. I would rather be sophisticated in my thinking. I would rather be somebody who is well thought out. I'd rather be somebody who is illiterate, not just in the way that I articulate myself, but also financially, or emotionally intelligent. I'd rather be those things than be somebody who's proven something. I'm cool off that. Don't get it twisted. Just because I got a do-rag on doesn't mean anything. The do-rag does not define a damn thing besides the fact that I'm attempting to get waves for the first time in my life. And if it doesn't work out, then to hell with it. But I appreciate y'all for tuning in, man. Y'all are beautiful human beings. I really, really appreciate y'all.
Everybody's been showing love. He definitely
showing up and showing out.
Definitely spitting fast.
We're here for real conversations. We're here for the real thing. I made a promise. I said I'm never gonna sugarcoat y'all again. I'm not gonna cap. I'm not gonna. Oh, but maybe I should. But just in case, because I don't care to be bullied. I really don't. I've heard like some of the most heinous things, y'all. I am not afraid. I know whose side I'm on. Simple as that. I know who's got my back. So I am unafraid. Appreciate y'all. Till the next time. Peace.
To Morocco. I got pretty women showing titties like I'm Flocko. I came in a hard top, I'm still in the drop.